Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk all things Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and today's report includes Mike Tomlin's Tuesday press conference news and notes. Is there a rift between George Pickens and the Steelers? A former Pirates pitcher who some wanted to come back signs elsewhere, and more. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into the first news story of the day. Mike Tomlin Tuesday press conference news and notes. It's another Tomlin Tuesday on the South Side, as Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin held his weekly press conference this afternoon. Here are some news and notes from his presser. Starting with injuries on the team, the Steelers defense will be getting a huge boost as outside linebacker Alex Highsmith is fully expected to play, according to Coach T. Also being mentioned again in the injury report is defensive tackle Montravius Adams and corner Corey Trice, both of whom could play this week. The last name mentioned by Tomlin is wide receiver Calvin Austin. Austin took a couple of big shots in the Cincinnati game and will be in concussion protocol this week. Looking back at this weekend's game, Tomlin addressed Joey Porter Jr.'s penalty problems against Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, and it seems he's giving him a pass, saying, "You have to match physicality with their big people. Something we won't do is allow them to just catch the ball. When we play Shaq, we're going to use our fouls." Tomlin added that he isn't worried about Porter moving forward, saying that his corner won't dwell on his performance and that he has a serial killer mentality. Another player having issues is wide receiver George Pickens, who had 2 personal foul penalties on Sunday. Tomlin was asked what is going on with George and what is being done to deal with his issues, saying, "I'm not going to give you any detail about what's going on behind the scenes in terms of his growth and development. You know that's my style, and I'm going to be really consistent in it. Being transparent with you guys doesn't necessarily help or accelerate the growth process, and that's my agenda, not necessarily feeding the beast. If it is or isn't, I wouldn't necessarily tell you, to be quite honest with you." I think there's more to that story than what Tomlin is telling the media, but more on that in the next segment. Lastly, looking ahead to this weekend's game, Tomlin said that the Steelers didn't do a good enough job to minimize Browns defensive end Myles Garrett the first time around. If Tomlin is saying that, then I expect Garrett to be getting extra attention through chips and double teams almost every play. The Steelers will be back on the practice field tomorrow and make the necessary adjustments for this Sunday's game. Is there a rift between George Pickens and the Steelers? After Sunday's victory over the Bengals, Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin said that his top wide receiver George Pickens, quote, "needs to grow up in a hurry." Tomlin said this after Pickens had 2 personal foul penalties in the game, one of which made a field goal attempt for Chris Boswell longer, and the kick was blocked. The quote of Tomlin telling Pickens to grow up speaks volumes. Instead of his usual response of the matter being addressed behind closed doors, Tomlin called out Pickens in public. My guess on why Tomlin did this is because the message may not be getting through behind the scenes, and he wanted to send a stronger message to George. However, on Monday, just a day after Tomlin's post-game comments, the following could be a sign that there's a rift between Pickens and the Steelers. On his official Instagram account, @1.issue, Pickens is no longer following the Steelers or Coach Tomlin. This isn't the first time that Pickens has done something like this, as in November last year, he scrubbed his Instagram account of all Steelers affiliation. However, the timing of this is odd. A person on X, @Michael Brewerly, who many believe is Pickens on a burner account, commented on a post about Tomlin and Pickens' sideline interaction from Sunday, saying, "Mike one of them ones. He gets it." We'll have to wait and see what else happens with Pickens, including fines, between now and Sunday's heated rematch with the Browns. What do you guys think of Pickens' actions on and now apparently off the field? Let me know in the comments below. A former Steelers wide receiver could be getting cut from his new team. At this year's NFL trade deadline, the Baltimore Ravens traded a 5th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers in exchange for former Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson. Now, we all know Johnson has talent, and many of us thought that he would be a great fit for the Ravens' offense. However, lots of things look good on paper until it's time to take the field. In the Ravens' 24-19 loss on Sunday to the Philadelphia Eagles, Johnson played a total of 0 offensive snaps. Not only did Johnson not play a single snap, he didn't play a single snap with the Ravens being down one of their top 2 wide receivers in Rashad Bateman. This raises a major red flag in Baltimore, and Ravens head coach John Harbaugh was asked if Johnson was available to replace Bateman, replying with, "I'm not really ready to comment on that right now. I will be. Just don't have enough information right now to talk about it." What does that mean, John? Let's cut through the BS of your quote. What you're really saying is that Johnson has become a malcontent on and off the field, kind of like everywhere else he's been. He's been on your team for about a month now and has barely played. That alone says enough. Nobody should be shocked in the coming weeks if Johnson ends up getting cut by the Ravens. I guess Pittsburgh dad was right. When a former Steeler goes to a new team, they're just a sleeper agent who sabotages that organization from within. Life comes full circle for Steelers wide receiver Calvin Austin. Growing up, all kids want to meet their idol someday, but almost none get to do what Calvin Austin is doing. On Sunday against the Bengals, Austin caught one of Russell Wilson's 3 touchdown passes. This was Austin's 3rd touchdown reception of the season, all 3 of which were thrown by Wilson. After beating the Bengals, Austin posted on social media a picture of himself as a teenager, rocking a Russell Wilson Seattle Seahawks jersey. This is cool to see, and has to be a life comes full circle moment for Austin. To go from wearing your idol's jersey in high school to becoming one of his favorite targets in the NFL is truly incredible. Starting goaltenders for Penguins vs. Panthers are named. Tonight, the Pittsburgh Penguins look to extend their 3-game winning streak as they host the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers at PPG Paints Arena. At this morning's optional skate, head coach Mike Sullivan named Tristan Jarry as the Pens starting goaltender tonight. Jarry is coming off his best game of the season last Friday, stopping 31 of 32 shots in the Penguins' 2-1 victory over the Boston Bruins. Opposing Jarry at the other end of the rink will be Spencer Knight for the Panthers. There should be no lineup changes for the Penguins, and puck drop is scheduled for 7 p.m. A former Pirates pitcher who some wanted to come back signs elsewhere. Breaking news just came down this Tuesday morning that a former Pirates relief pitcher has signed with a new team. According to multiple reports, setup man and closer for the Pirates last season, left-hand pitcher Aroldis Chapman, has signed a 1-year $10.75 million contract with the Boston Red Sox. The 36-year-old, after spending just 1 season in Pittsburgh, earns himself a $250,000 raise. In 2024, Chapman appeared in 68 games, recording a .379 ERA, a .135 WHIP, 98 strikeouts, and 14 saves in 61 2/3 innings pitched. The Cuban Missile had an up-and-down season last year, but when other bullpen arms failed to meet expectations, Chapman stepped up as the Pirates' best relief pitcher. Some fans, including myself, would have liked to see Chapman return, as the Bucks have a hole in their bullpen for a left-handed pitcher. Nonetheless, best of luck moving forward in your career, Aroldis Chapman. Is the MLB seriously adding this gimmick to the game? This right here is just some general baseball news and has nothing to do with the Pirates, but it's worth noting. According to multiple reports from the off-season owners' meetings, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred is considering implementing a new ridiculous rule. The rule is called the Golden At-Bat Rule. This rule gives MLB teams 1 opportunity per game to send any player on their team to the plate at any time. For an example of this rule, let's say the Dodgers are playing the Pirates. It's the 9th inning, 2 outs, Bucks are up a run, and David Bednar comes in for the save and the bases are loaded. Bednar is set to face the 9th man in the Dodgers batting order, but instead, LA manager Dave Roberts can send Shohei Ohtani to the plate in that spot. In a report by senior MLB writer for The Athletic Jason Stark, Manfred said that this rule is, quote, in the conversation-only stage right now. Stark added that it wouldn't be too shocking to see the MLB test this rule as early as next season. If this rule were to get passed, which I'm sure Manfred will try to force it through, this will be the worst Bush League gimmick ever implemented into a professional sport. I can live with the pitch clock and even the automatic runner on second base in extra innings, but this is too far. Instead of addressing real issues like, I don't know, maybe putting in a salary cap or letting the Dodgers defer every contract under the sun, let's water down the ultimate team sport even more. Be better, Rob, because in the next few years, I don't want to look at baseball and say to myself, what happened to the game I grew up watching? And finally, Hard Knocks begins tonight on Max. The last segment on today's edition of the Steel City Sports Report is just a programming reminder for Steelers fans. Tonight, Wednesday, December 3rd at 9 p.m. is the debut of the new season of Hard Knocks in Season on Max. Instead of just following one team this year, Hard Knocks is covering all 4 teams of the AFC North. It'll be cool to see the Steelers and their divisional opponents from a different point of view starting tonight. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow with some more Pittsburgh sports news.